Hello, everyone. I am your host of this show, The Verge Podcast, Virgil Edwards. As always, the goal of this show is to keep you from the brink of ignorance and on the verge of intelligence when it comes to the politics in America today, because God knows there are plenty of sources of misinformation, the flat out lies, in their attempts to divert your attention from the truth of the matters that affect all of us nationwide. You know, ever since the election, the Democrats have continued to be on full-on meltdown mode. You see, they claim to be against sexism. They claim to be against racism. And they claim that they are for quote-unquote democracy. But yet, just since the elections, they have went on the warpath, doing everything they can to whine and complain about the elections. And here's the thing. All Donald Trump said is that all he said was that he reserves the right. Reserves the right to pursue legal action if he believes there's evidence of wrongdoing and voter fraud in the elections. That's all he said. But Hillary Clinton and the mainstream media spun it to say that, oh, Donald Trump is gonna, go against the will of the people and go for recounts and everything else. He's a danger to democracy. That's what he said. That's what they said of Donald Trump. But yet, what did we see? We saw the likes of Hillary Clinton and Dr. Jill Stein go for recounts in states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. But yet, where was the media's cries against that? Where was the likes of CNN and MSNBC crying foul against those maneuvers? They were non-existent. Why? Because, of course, they were done by their overlords. They dare not tread against the likes of Hillary Clinton. I'm hoping by the time that 2017 comes around and Donald Trump actually takes office in the White House, that it finally settles in that it's over. That it basically settles in that the time to move on is now. We really have to call these people out. We really have to. Because if we don't, they will keep on. And they will keep on. One of the other things that came out of the election is this emergence against quote-unquote fake news. All these fake news outlets, they're responsible for why Donald Trump won. And I'm like, really? You sure it wasn't because everybody knew what sort of corrupt individual that Hillary Clinton was? I mean, it's just, I don't know. The likes of the mainstream media, they are the fake news professionals. I mean, no one can put out fake news stories and call it the truth better than the likes of CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. They're the king of the hill. But yet they want to complain and whine and cry about fake news sites. It just blows my mind that we are actually seeing this happen. They don't want to take responsibility for their own actions. One of the very fundamental liberal traits that there is that you have to avoid taking responsibility for your actions when they fail. You must always pass the buck. You must always blame someone else. Preferably blame the opposition. You know, they don't like taking responsibility for anything. If it fails, it's always someone else's fault. Never is it their responsibility when they lose an election. In fact, to avoid taking responsibility, they will double down on what they did wrong. They will always say, oh, we just didn't do it hard enough. We just didn't have enough. So, yeah. I mean, Donald Trump may have said that he reserves the right to pursue legal action on the election results. But look who actually did. Look who actually so-called put democracy in danger. For the last time, America, the United States of America, is not a democracy. Absolutely is not. It is a constitutional republic. Never has a U.S. president been elected on the popular vote. And it should never be elected on the popular vote. Otherwise, we would have less than 100 counties worth of population electing our president. That would be over more than 3,000 counties in this country. Stuff like that is precisely why we have the electoral college system for electing our presidents. But here's another thing. Donald Trump nominated Ben Carson to be the head over the HUD housing. And of course the liberals are freaking out over it. Nancy Pelosi even penning a letter talking about the lack of qualifications that Ben Carson has. Where's the cries of racism by the media on that? Where's the cries of people demanding that she step down for her racist comments towards Ben Carson? I mean, I'm sorry, but if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If a Republican had said that about a black Democrat, the media would be all over it 24 hours a day. But it's not happening. Why? Because it's a Democrat saying these things about a Republican. You know, Sarah Palin came out against what Donald Trump was doing with this carrier deal, offering government subsidies for them to stay in the country. And it's wrong. I don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican doing it. When the government meddles with private business, it never goes well. And it ends up always costing we, the people, the taxpayers, money. But how did the media treat Sarah Palin? Oh, they criticized her. Where was the cries of sexism? Where was all these feminists? Why aren't they out doing protests, stripping down, having slut walks? I mean, sorry, but again, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. What we have to understand is that hypocrisy is the name of the game for the Democrats now. They have no shame. They have no moral ground to stand on. They're clawing at any bit of ground that they can get to hold any sort of position. And desperate animals are the most dangerous. And that's exactly what they're acting like right now. Desperate animals. You know, as a close, I want people to understand something. That every time you hear a Democrat on TV claiming to be against something, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're lying. They claim to be for gay rights and to be the champions of and the voices for gay people. But once those gay voices turn conservative, all bets are off. That's about as simple as I can put it. Until next time, keep from the brink of ignorance and stay on the verge of intelligence. Please like this podcast, share it with your friends and family, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, social media, platform of your choice. Just please subscribe.